Man, Santos, as we go through this whole roller coaster at the time, and because it must be tough for you to walk through it.
It's been very tough, but like you said, I'll just pick on a few things you said.
Yeah.
Because there's the perspective as the woman, there's the perspective as the man. And for me, what I found very important is, first of all, like she said, knowing you as an individual.
Right.
What's your character? What's your personality?
Right.
And for like now, you see, like I said, I'm the calm one. She's the very not calm.
Yes.
Allow me to use that.
Yeah.
But in psychological terms, where she's the expert.
Right.
She's choleric. I'm a phlegmatic. Right. So even when there's conflict, it's a natural reaction for me to get back, because I hate conflict.
Right.
For her, she's very forceful. She wants to express herself and get things sorted out. But as she said, for me, I have to analyze and see where is all this coming from. How best can it be resolved without, and that takes time. But with time, you see, we got to learn about that. And she mentioned something at the beginning, mentorship. We have gone through, at every stage, like she said, there are very different stages of marriages. We've had different people working with us. People who have been ahead of us, people probably at our level, and they have added some value. But there's one thing out of it all that we realized was really key and important, is that at the end of it all, we'd have to resolve our issues, the two of us.
Right.
We can't keep running to everyone, oh, she's doing this, oh, he's doing this. No, we can't. We have to grow. That's why I said you'll go through trouble so that you grow to the next level. Yes, and become an expert. And I want to thank God that we've reached there where we are able to sit down. We are not perfect yet, but at least now we can actually sit and she doesn't have to go to a lawyer and get divorced papers. Yeah, she'll get upset. And she'll agree that she gets upset. I'll upset her, and she'll upset me as well. And at times they say if you're upset, it's better if you step away, calm down, because you would say things that will make the situation worse. So with time we've learned all that. But towards now our 20th, we've worked with now quite people who have been there quite a bit. Because now we really needed, because you see, we're growing and we need to grow further. So we've actually worked with quite a number of couples that have really mentored us very well. We'll not necessarily go together. I'll probably speak to the gentleman. If I'm going through something, he'll speak to me, and you realize, oh, okay, I didn't see it that way. And it has helped. I also did I enrolled in something by a friend of mine. We were about 5-6 men. It was called Mid-Maisha. And trust me, that thing really turned me around. And it was perfect. Mid-Maisha.
Mid-Maisha.
Yes.
All right.
Basically, it's a course. It's about a 10-week course, and we were actually the guinea pigs. We're trying it out because what these guys did, and I hope I really need to commend. He's called Anzaya. What he was trying to do was he realized, because he's quite senior. I think he's quite senior. He realized that many men at their 40s, 50s, 60s really suffer. And why do they suffer? Because they messed up during the beginning of their years, the beginning of their marriages. They forgot to invest. What they did was they focused on providing for the family, but not investing in the most important person, and that is the wife. Because remember, at some point, all my kids they're all going to leave. And just be me and her. But what happens is we never connected. I never invested in her. For her, she really invested time. She probably sacrificed her career to help me run the home while I was out there trying to get the money. But you see, I didn't invest in the emotional part of it or the spiritual part of it. Yes. So with that, I've learned. So I really ran and realized I need to invest in her as well. And realized she's pursued her psychology. She's done her degree, she's done her master's, and she's going to do her doctorate. And I realized I need to support her because she's invested so much at the beginning of this marriage, we have children, she's taken care of them, she's made our home, a very comfortable place to live in.
Right.
So what's the least I can do is to support her dreams.
Correct.
Because while she was doing that, she sacrificed all this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Santo, man, you've reached a very important aspect of personality differences.
Yes.
Which I think must be part of then self-awareness.
Correct.
That now you're a flag.
Yes.
She's a
Choleric.
Choleric.
And cholerics are drivers.
Choleric,
They
yes.
can drive it up the wall. Man.
Yes.
In the meantime, flags are laid back.
Yes.
But I'm also told flags are very loyal people.
Yes.
They're very, very loyal people.
True.
They love to have the peace and all of that stuff. Do you think the personality differences also therefore plays a role in terms of then conflicts and either resolution of them or lack of resolution of them?
You see, once you're aware, then you know what will work during conflict. So it's not that because I'm a flag and she's a choleric, it will normally not work. Or that it will automatically work. But the fact that you're aware, I'm aware that I'm a flag, and she's aware I'm a flag, and I'm aware she's a choleric, and she knows she's a choleric, then we know during domains or conflict,
how we deal with it.
I'll know automatically she'll shoot up.
Right.
And if I dare talk, I'll probably say something that will
aggravate her,
or vice versa.
Right.
Because she's so mad, she may say things that will aggravate me.
Right.
So being aware of that, knowing what there's a conflict brewing. Let me just keep quiet. Yes. And take a chill pill. And it has worked.
But I want to stay there.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a flag being a flag and a guy getting into that cave that they don't like?
Now, for a flag and a cave,
you're processing something. Yes.
The flag and cave is very close.
Right.
Now, the thing is, when to know when to get out of the cave.
Right.
And that's where I think they have a problem with us.
Right.
Like she said, we stay there. I think we go there, we remove our shoes, sit up and tell you on, and you watch sports and whatever.
Right.
And forget you have a dome out there.
Right.
And for her, what she pictures or thinks is that I do not care.
Right.
Yeah.
You're being indifferent about it.
I'm being indifferent.
It doesn't matter to you.
So it aggravates the matter and she gets more upset and more upset.
Right.
And I think most of the time that those happen, that must have been the reason.
Right.
She felt as indifferent, didn't care about her, didn't care about the relationship. But all the time as hurting.
And trying to figure out how do we resolve
best resolve this without a shouting contest. Without, because again, I don't like noise.
In the meantime, all this that you're trying to do is not visible to her.
No.
As far as she's concerned, you're avoiding.
Exactly avoiding. I don't care. I'm indifferent. Yes.
So fairness, but
I'm enjoying seeing her miserable.
It's like you're having fun with this.
Exactly.
It's the truth. It's the truth. I always say, this is like the analogy of someone who's in ICU.
Right.
And there's only one, medication that can get you out of that place. Sasa, this person who's supposed to bring you that medication is busy in the cave. Day 1, day 2. Yes, your breathing is becoming now, something else.
Right.
Day 3, he's still in the. Kwanza sasa, he's even decided he's showering in that cave. Day 4. Mattress. He's even now sleeping. And I always used to tease him and
the drinks are being now delivered to the cave.
Now. And something I used to tell him is that every time we're having a dome, that's the time he'd snore.
You can't find sleep.
I'm like, I can't sleep. This guy is gear 15 of. What devil is this? I mean, really, you should not be sleeping when we are having issues. But that's the time.
You should be sitting to resolve this matter.
But is it?
I don't know, but I think it has to be.
The weird thing is, whenever we had conflict, for one reason or another, is the time I used to snore. Ideally, I don't snore.
So there was a bad coincidence.
Yes.
The snore is coming at the
so
time.
you can imagine now you can see what she was speaking for me. Yes.
God just checks in and decides you're not going to die. But the moment you get out of that ICU, you just go for this doctor who decided they're not coming to help you. And that's where now you decide, okay, it's been real. God bless you. Go your way, me, I'll go my own. Because you didn't come to save me on time. You see, every woman craves for that Spider-Man. Kuja, come with your web. Deal with these people. You're my warrior. So when you're in the cave there, at Mkuki Medunga outside the cave, kumbe the enemy has just come and taken your Cinderella and and then you check in later, my alarm did not go on. I mean, at the end of the day, for the woman, and I speak for so many women, I mean, it's all about how you made me feel.
Right.
So if you were in the cave and you made me feel like, I'm on my own, then please just have your aloneness. Yeah. Even me now, I'll just decide this is my lifestyle. So that's how it is. But again, what he said, when you learn the dynamics behind marriage, the intentionality, the commitment,
right.
And that, the third strand, of course, which is God. You must have a spiritual force that helps you, remain sane when everything else around you is insane.
Right. Right.
And for us, prayer has really worked. Prayer has done it. Prayer, and I will emphasize, it starts from the place of prayer.
There are two powerful things you've already said so far. Self-awareness, that personality issue, I think, is a major issue that people need to be aware about, because then you might be thinking this guy doesn't care.
This is very weird. Flags also go for choleric wives. I've done my research.
Correct.
They really blend together, because one person is the action, the other one is the water. If you look at it, from elements of the earth, one person is the fire, the other one is the water.
Right.
So those two things.
So he's the water in this case.
He's the water and the fire.
I knew you were burning all.
In fact, the other time my son just told my mom, in this house there are two men, because I had brought in my fire.
And the choleric in you is just.
You think he just held me by the hand. He told me, this house has two men, and he walked out.
And this is your son now making that observation?
This is my son. Yes.
Did it hit something when he said that?
Yes, it did. I just realized I'm no longer dealing with a young boy.
Right.
Yeah. I was just trying to prove a point, discipline, and he told me, Mom, there are two men in this house.
I'm curious to know what convinced you to withdraw the second divorce?
Then again, it was, spiritual authorities. They came in, they talked, and every battle has, everything. This is what I say. Everything is spiritual before it manifests in the physical.
Right.
This means when you see someone avoiding you or attacking you, it is first spiritual. There's a feeling that is, making them behave the way they are behaving. Either they're angry at you, they're jealous, they're, all those things. So when you bring in now the spiritual authority, these people are able to understand more. So they came and explained, and they say, first of all, let's say things as is. God does not like divorce. So when you're talking about that divorce, do you really love God? Because what is the symbol? Then why do we talk about the cross? I sin and fall short of the glory of God. And when I go for prayers, I know that I've been forgiven. So why is it that I cannot forgive my spouse, who I've lived with for so many years? So they bring in some, a very, logical way of looking at life. And also, Jesus said you have to be humble. And when you look at a child, you'll beat your child and then they will go and cry and then they'll come back, Dad, they forget easily. And I've realized that is something that, marriage needs to have. Forget easily. Don't hold a grudge towards your partner, because when you carry grudges, it's like every other day you're adding a kilo or two on your back. And the back is very, very fragile. So one day you will eventually break down.
Right.
So basically that spiritual authority, reason, brought in the voice of reason. And I was taken aback. And then again, my loyalty is with God first, before him. And I always tell him, before I met him, I had a husband, and that husband is God. Because Jesus mwenyewe would say, I am the husband to the widows and whatever. So he is there, he's the first husband. So I need to respect that first husband before I can show him, respect. And if that first husband says, this one that is physical that I have provided, you will not leave him, then that word goes.
Right.
Yeah. So from then, I think it's been, I think since then, we literally grew.
But out of curiosity, it was which year? How old were you in marriage for the first divorce and the second one?
I think the first one was in 2008 and then 2011, right there, yeah? Just before we moved. Okay, we started now investing, in other things. But yes, around 2011, if my memory serves me right. And we had a little one. So you can imagine the pressure of, taking care of a little one. We were also, building a house. So there was a lot of pressure also. And that is another thing. External pressure. You need to identify what are these things that are making you not be able to, take in other maybe forms of stress, So just being able to put a finger on it and say, okay, maybe it's the finances, maybe it's our in-laws, maybe it's friends, and just resolving to first deal with those pressures before now you can start criticizing each other. Yeah.
Right. Santos, man, did you almost feel like I want to also give it a break?
I don't think I've ever reached to her point.
Right.
I got to a point where I want to step out and just go and then come back in the morning or 2 days. But again, the beauty of our job is we have that time. So I think also that has kind of helped us. So there are times when that break away also helps. So for me, I've never gotten to that point.
Right.
Like I said at the beginning, for me, it's still death do us part.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't think, and then I don't think I get, again, my personality.
Right.
It's very hard to get me upset to that level where that I'm out, I've done, Yeah. Because even when the time she's annoyed me.
Yeah.
But then in a few minutes, I'm okay, I've forgotten about it. So it's okay.
And we generally move on.
It's not a big yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's not, for me, it's not a big deal. Yeah. That's my personality.
And just out of curiosity again, I mean, she talked about earlier when you would drink and come in, maybe at about 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Was this kind of issues part of what drove you there, or was it just hanging out with the boys?
No, it's just hanging out with the boys.
Just hanging out with the boys.
Yeah, because I used to love partying.
Right.
So it was not, and when we started, it was not a big problem. So I'd go out once in a while.
Right.
Not always. And I'd try to come. One thing I had told myself, I'd never come home when my kids are awake to see me if I'd been drinking, never to see that. Like I don't think they've ever seen me drinking. Actually, they've never. And I vowed they'll never see me drinking.
Right.
So that's something I vowed. Though there's a time I got home one day and I remember she was upset. I got home at, I think, 6. And guess who opens the door? My daughter.
Oh.
Then she asked me, "You're coming home at this time?" I think that was the last time I ever went out and come home at that time.
It must have meant something to you.
It did. It did.
Hit something.
That one hit me.
Hit hard.
Hit hard. I'd said never ever.
Oh.
Yeah. If we're out, I'm out with her, or I'm at work,
Right.
But not clubbing or having fun. No.
Right.
No, I said no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I believe I have a responsibility for them, being a role model. Because one thing I've realized is kids not necessarily take what they hear from you, but it's what they see
What they
doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I try as much as possible to preach, to do what I preach, and they'll see it.
But it is important for people to know we don't succeed in marriages because it was easy. But there must have been a resolution to work through it and to partner with each other and also partner with God. That's why today we can celebrate and say, congratulations on your 17 years. Man, you've got the badges, you've got the marks, and here we are, man. But I also want to jump into your work environment because then you guys have an interesting schedule of work. Running a home and in there literally almost all the time, man. At KQ.
Yes.
You're a flight person there, and so is she.
Yes.
Man, how do you guys run this?
I think, like she said at the beginning, we're not traditional where she sticks to her rules and I stick to my rules.
Right.
And a good example is when we got our second born, the daughter. I remember it never stopped life. She would go to work. I remember I just told her go to work, and in fact during that time we would take turns in waking up to feed her. I would go around. I would have a bag. I used to have a bag with her diapers, wipes, her food, everything. Life continued. And I think it's something I told myself even before I got married that I want to be part of my children and part of my family. Not be absent.
Right.
Let them feel my presence.
Right.
Not only my wife, but all my children. And like she said, the times I cook.
Right.
Yeah. I'll take care of the baby. I'll wash the baby.
Right. And find joy.
Yes. And yes,
Absolutely.
a lot of joy in it.
Right.
And so that has helped us because we're cognizant of the fact that at some point we'll not always be at home together. Like I mentioned earlier before we started the show, there's a time, an entire month, we never saw each other.
Right.
Yes, an entire month.
You're
just crisscrossing, yes.
She's
At
learning
no time were we in the country at the same time.
for a whole month.
For an entire month. And we had kids, small ones.
So how do you sustain those times? And how do you manage those times?
Now we just, of course, there was communication then. That was even before WhatsApp and all this.
Yeah.
And I remember when I remember those days, I remember the time I was in Cameroon.
Right.
I'd gone, it was a really long stay. So of course, I was missing her so much.
Yeah.
So I said, I do not have, let me just call her for a minute or two and just to see how she's doing.
Right.
Yeah, and hear her voice.
Yeah.
So I did that for a couple of days, I think 3-4 days. And then on the day of checking out,
Yep.
I go to the counter, I'm checking out to sign my bill. And they give me a bill, 535 euros on phones,
Whoa.
phone calls. 535
That's almost 60 G's, almost
Yes.
65
Yeah.
G's.
And that
3-4
is many
days.
years ago,
Yes,
so
many
it was
years,
a lot
yes.
of money.
Many years ago.
Yes.
Right.
I
Yeah.
still have, I gave her that invoice. So they say how much I love her. I still love her. Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
But it was a learning curve.
Yeah.
And trust me, from that day, I never touching a hotel phone. So we got SIM cards in almost all countries.
Right.
Yeah. So we could actually communicate.
Most
So
likely
again,
you thought you used to talk for 1 minute or two.
yes, yeah. But it was
it's
1
not
minute or
fancy things,
two.
Buana.
I don't know, but I'm very convinced it was a minute or two. But
Most likely she will tell you it wasn't a minute or two.
probably, yeah. So we learned, yeah. So from that we learned to
Right.
have SIM cards. But over and above the story, we try and communicate, whether we're together or not,
Right.
just to get to know how you doing.
Right.
Yeah, just hearing each other's voice.
Right.
Are you well? How
Right.
you doing? You see, and then also speak to the kids if whoever is at home. Yeah, so that you're present. You're not absent. Yes, you're absent, but still present.
They feel you.
They feel you.
You're
yes.
walking the journey together. The relationships are still
Exactly.
Current.
And then we also make sure that we're here for special occasions.
Right.
We make sure that we're not on duty.
right.
Yeah. So
Right.
beforehand, we'd ask that we're around. So all those special days, we're always around. Yeah.
I'm just curious, have you guys had to serve on the same flight together?
Yes. He's always been a step ahead of me. So he got promoted first.
Right.
And I got to enjoy working and, serving under his leadership.
Right.
So I literally used to take the controls of that, no one should make for him tea. I take my wifely duties.
You're always even on
Yes,
air.
to work.
Right.
But those were special, days, and
Right.
and then what he forgot to say that we used to initially, because there were no phones, we used to write each other letters, and we have a book to date.
Right.
So if you're at home and you're leaving and the other person is coming, so you leave a letter, and it really,
You
created,
kept your letters,
yes.
as well. So you've converted them to a book.
Yes, they're in a book. Yeah,
It must be a very special book.
Yeah. But then, as I said earlier, we were always working together, because
Right.
then we had options of requesting or even swapping, swapping flights with colleagues, so that you can be, I can be on his flight or he can be on my flight.
Right.
But then it got to a point where we were banned from flying together.
Oh.
It became too much.
Right.
Yeah. So we learned to just deal with what we have. And right now, we both are pastors, so we can't fly together. It's rare. In fact, I don't remember when was the last time. I mean, it's been years. But I like it that this is where we do our flight.
Right.
And this is the special space,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And I keep on saying this, that, I believe God took me to KQ just to meet him.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what I believe.
How does that sound in your ears?
Music.
And distance is good. I would say that. I believe part of the reasons we've also been able to sail through is the breaks, because, the other spouse is normally the trigger. So you just sit down and you think through, and then when you come back, you're sober. So this perception that people have out there that, flight crew, flight nini, people should learn that a lot of us have actually thrived in relationships because of that, small break.
So by the time you're coming back, you've come down.
You've come down.
You're able to have a sober conversation.
You have a sober conversation.
Right.
You've missed your spouse, literally.
Right.
Like there are times you'd have a 1 week flight. So you can imagine you left home, you're angry. you've gone away for 1 week. By the third day, you're thinking, oh God, I need to find out, like, hey, I'm not seeing him on Facebook. I'm not, so you're itching to know how is he doing? Yes. And that's what really shows you that not only are you human, but you love the other person. Right. And maybe a special thanks to KQ, because that has also helped sustain the marriage. I'm imagining, me being choleric, and then I'm going to work in the morning 8, I'm coming back at 5, the trigger is there. Choleric fire is there. Arrow. So I thank God, because I've gotten those.
In fact, now that you say that, Venus, man, how did you deal with COVID? COVID now, both of you, there were no flights.
Oh, it was.
So both of you are home. How did you deal with this?
Oh my God! For once, I felt that I could make a good housewife.
During COVID.
It was the first time ever that I spent a month continuous in the house with my husband. And then the month turned into 6 months because he was not working. I actually, when we opened, I started my flights, but he was home almost for a year. And we had such a special bond. I think God affirmed to me that this again is the man he created for me. Yes, it was amazing. Amazing. We used to do stuff together. Right. I mean, every other day, just like when we were courting, we were best friends. Now, this was being replayed. And it is something that I always, tell, people who are coming in for mentorship and all that. When you get into a relationship because of, first, initially, it is because of how we feel. But if you stick by that, what happens when your partner is down and they're not able to serve you, then it means the relationship will not work. But when you build the mental capacity, you bring in the intentionality, the commitment, even if your partner is paralyzed, the love is there because you created the right bond. You started with the right base. You see? So love, when people meet initially, love is because of feelings, the attraction. Right. But as you age,
it transitions.
Love becomes commitment.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And you have to decide every day.
Every day I remind myself. In fact, there are times, not that, there are not people who are in your inbox and, but I always say, God, this man, I will honor you by loving him.
Right.
First of all, I'm accountable to God before anyone else.
Loving him is honoring God.
It's honoring God. It's my way of worshiping God as well.
Loving him is a way of worshiping.
Loving my husband is a way of worshiping
this is getting
God.
deep, man.
Yes.
You can see where we've lasted 20 years.
Loving him is honoring God.
Is honoring God.
Mr. Kyengo, man, how did you giving your life to Christ change the dynamics of how this is now going?
Like she said, now it became easier to relate. We are now more in sync. We pray together, we pray with the kids together, like she said, we fast together. And things just seem to fall in place. Right. It's like there was a key or a part that was missing in the entire marriage. Right. That was completed when I gave my life to Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Excuse me. And then, like I said, now I also understand her. Because like she said, the things in me she wanted me to change. But equally, also the things in her I wanted her to change. Right. And when I got born again, what I realized is she was given to me by God.
That's deep.
So she was given to me by God.
Right.
So what I do is now when I have those issues, I'll go down on my knees and ask God, you're the one who gave me Venus as my wife. Right. Please work on her.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And if there's anything in me that is making her the way she is, please bring it to my attention so that I can change.
Right.
Yeah. So that it's easier for her to change herself. Yes.
That is profound.
Yeah.
That is profound. Pray for them.
Yes, pray for them.
Change yourself.
Because I can't. It's not in my place.
That's a rich take out.
Yeah,
that's a really rich take out. But I almost bring this one, man. Venus, all these many conversations, particularly around relationships. I suspect relationships are one of the biggest reasons for too many heartaches and all of that stuff.
True.
And as you sit in the vantage position, if I may use your term, what do you hear? What do you see? What do you think we miss? And what is this around relationships that we must fix to be able to bring out the greatness inside of every single one of us?
I love to use the analogy of a sportsman because my kids are all sports people. And even when you look at an athlete will eat right. They will work their body out so that by the time they're running the race, they are able to complete it. Now, a lot of the time, we want to laze around and still attain success in a relationship. That is impossible. You see those moments when you're being tried and tested, when you're shedding a lot of tears, when you're running after lawyers looking for those divorce, that's the time you're building your muscle. Muscle that will help you run through the race. Why are we here 20 years later? We have worked on muscle. Worked on muscle. So at the end of the day, you know, when you bring in now the issue of relationship, I feel a lot of people, first of all, get married for the wrong reasons. Secondly, they come in with misconceptions that a marriage is supposed to be all, you know, lovey-dovey, you know, this is what is supposed to, there's a lot of interference from, of course, our history, how we were brought up, how we saw our parents, and we bring those expectations in the marriage. Now, I always say when you get married, start on a clean slate. Remove the issue of my father used to do this, my mother used to do this. Do you. There's an element also of immaturity where I find like sometimes, you know, you have couples who, you know, are different in age. There's a huge gap. So ideally in psychology, we say a woman is always 5 years ahead of the normal, while the man is 5 years. Sorry, sweetie.
No.
Yes.
So if we're both 25.
If you're both 25,
Right.
the woman is considered 30 and the man is considered 20.
So it's almost like a 10-year gap.
It's a 10-year gap. So
That's
going by
psychologically
that,
or what?
it's psychology, it's a theory in psychological,
Which is true?
psychology, which is true.
Right.
So ideally, you know, when you're also getting married, you know, look at the dynamics. You know, has God approved it? You know, what is the age gap? You know, am I willing? You know, because, you know, when you learn, the reason why we court is that we can learn the behaviors that are that later become a problem.
Right.
And, you know, we always say that whatever attracts you to someone is what will make you leave that person. Did you know that? It becomes the enemy in the relationship. That which attracted you. What attracted me to Santo is his cool, calm, collected nature. The flag. But at some point, my God, I'm busy doing, I used to have a shop, so I'm like, him is busy in the cave. I'm busy doing my stock taking. So why are you in the cave? Come and help me do this. So ideally, that is what actually becomes the challenge in the relationship.
The very thing that drew you.
The very thing that attracted you to that person is what will break that marriage.
I'm now tempted to ask, so what attracted you to her?
Mine is very... No. I think just who she is.
Right.
I'm sure you've experienced her all this time.
Right.
That's who she is. She's real.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than being beautiful.
Right.
She's very smart. She's a go-getter.
Right.
She's very, very, very generous.
Right.
She's a very generous heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Has any of that been an issue for you?
No.
Okay.
For me, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the list can go on and on and on and on.
Right.
And I must confess that I am the man today because of her.
Wow.
Yeah. I am. I can't take that away from her.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
When I sit down and just look at my life back, where it was headed without her and with her, no, it's a very, very, very. I have a lot to thank her for bringing me to where I am right now.
Well, you have an opportunity right now on the Goldmine.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you can just go ahead and just do that. Right?
I've already done that.
Yep.
But sweetie, yes, you have made me the man that I am. I'll do every single day that I'm alive that just to show you how appreciative I am for just being there for me, encouraging me, rebuking me, you know, and even scolding me when I didn't even like it. Yeah. But he has made a very big difference and made me the man that I am. And there's so many people who benefit from it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's what we are here for, to be a blessing to others, because many people will definitely be blessed for the work you've put in me. But you'll enjoy that. You'll enjoy it all.
I love you.
I love you too.
Folks, I can't continue with the show. That's just about where. Feels like we need to end the show right about there, but man, guys, man, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you so much, man. I mean, just keeping it as real. And one more time, and we say congratulations on your 17th anniversary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't even think we are fully done, but we will have to do parts 2. It's about.
There are very many stories.
There are very many stories, man.
Yeah.
There are many stories.
Shaped us.
Yep.
And we thank God.
Yep.
Like you
Yep.
said, they've just strengthened us from year to year, and that's what has made this marriage successful. Like she said, those hard times are the ones that are making us smile right now.
Right.
I have a very good friend of mine.
Right.
He's been married. He's a mentor of mine, and I hold very dear to me. And he's had a tough time, and he is the one I usually now go to. I lost one last year, but he's still there, and I talk to him, and he tells me, yes, you know that trouble you'll go through is so that you enjoy the sunset years of your marriage.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm seeing right now. We're enjoying our sunset years.
Right. Well, I think you'll have an extended sunset.
Oh,
it's not even about to start.
Amen.
You're going to have an extended one. But I think the fact that then you stuck it through, then it also gives you the opportunity to enjoy this phase of your marriage. And I guess it's a big lesson. If we can stay at it, commit and work at it,
Yes.
well, there are brighter days ahead.
Yes.
And to everyone listening today, man, I mean, there must be brighter. It doesn't end at the point of a low. I mean, it's got to end on a high. Man.
True.
Like they say it's darkest
Just before dawn.
exactly.
True.
So when you feel it, don't just know it's going to be bright. There's
And
a
hold
brighter
on.
day, and hold on. It's a brighter day.
Maybe your 2 words that will be a parting shot. If there's wisdom you've built over the last 20 years, and you think this is priceless, that you'd want to share it out there, man, that's your camera right there, man.
You wanna go first?
No, please.
I'll just use the same phrase that I used as we were discussing about the whole journey. Love is not a feeling. It is a commitment. For you to love someone when they don't make sense, at their weakest, when they maybe cannot help you physically, it takes intentionality. And intentionality is because it's brought about by awareness. So love is not really what we say, a feeling. I know because I am in a marriage. It is because of commitment. Yeah.
Oh, man, that is so sweet. So sweet, so profound. Man.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's no longer a question of a feeling. It's commitment.
It's commitment. Because, as you age, if I can just expand in 1 minute.
Please.
As you age, you have your hormones just playing games on you. There are times you're on a low, there are times you're on a high. So if it's a feeling, then you'll not be able to really meet that person's expectation. But with understanding, you're able to sail through or navigate through those low moments. And you still hold on to one another. Yeah.
Profound. Profound. Very profound. Very profound. Don't mistake it for a feeling. It's much more than that.
Yeah, oh yes.
Santo, man, you want to take this home, man?
All right. I'd like to just tell people that marriage, first of all, is not easy, but it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to be in. And we know so many things come out through pressure, and the greatest thing is the diamond. So just withstand the pressures that you go through in your marriages, knowing that they'll just build and make a good thing. And one thing I'd like to share, for men and women, men, we were designed to love our women, and women were designed to respect their men. When this happens, then everything falls in place in a marriage. And you'll ask, who starts? This may be painful, but the man is the head. So the man starts by loving his wife, and automatically the wife will respect is the husband.
True.
And that's what I have to share to you out there who are in marriages, who intend to get into marriage, and who probably thought that it's not their thing. That's all I have to say.
You know, Santo, man, I mean, that finishing opens something. In your days of being served with divorce, in your days of being unfriended on social media, in the days she says, I'm single on status.
Yeah.
Who initiates the journey? Who initiated the journey of bringing us together?
Me.
Always.
Always. I'm the head. We cannot run away from that. And it's in the Bible. The man is the head.
It must have been tough to do so.
Yes,
You've been
it
served with a
was.
divorce, you're the one.
It's tough. But I need to solve this a problem. Who will solve it?
You've got to solve the problem.
Got to solve the problem.
When she
Yes,
puts her
it takes-
status single,
Yes, it takes two to tango, but
Yep.
you have to start from somewhere.
right,
Yeah.
Right.
So as the man, I need to initiate and start the process of resolving the conflict. Yes, during that time that it has led there, unfortunately we were human. And being human brings drugs, brings pain, brings anger and all those things. But then, like you said, and this I learned has really helped me. Getting down on my knees, praying. Then, okay, I was not praying. And probably she the one who came was filling in that gap because she was the prayer person. And God used me and gave me the guts, to initiate the discussion that no, this is not the way to go.
right.
We shared vows till death do us part. And I've said it time and time again, divorce will never be an option in this marriage.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, God came in and she, for some reason, she listened to what I had to say.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But trust me, Dennis, every time we had such scenarios, we grew after that.
Right.
The marriage became much better,
Right.
became much, much better.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that there was nothing ahead of that.
Right.
Yes, there was another divorce.
Right.
And again, there's been more conflict.
Right.
Yes. The only thing is that it's become less and doesn't have to go that long. Yeah. We're able to resolve it before
Much
we
sooner.
get hurt to the point where one person wants to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, we need to be intentional.
Right.
That this is do or die.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
No other option.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gotta work.
It's gotta work.
It's gonna work.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Totally appreciate
Having
it, man.
us. Thank
I
you.
mean, this is one of those shows that is difficult even to finish because it's rich, it's authentic, it is real, my friend. And you know, sometimes we go through different scenarios and we never think it's ever gonna come to an end. But here we are, laughing, smiling, looking back. I think 2 divorces later, 12 packing of the bags later,
Oh, yes.
and so much more. Status of single. Oh my goodness. I mean, this felt like a soap opera. It's like a movie. But we thank God because we are here to tell the story. And I want to encourage every one of you, man. Maybe you're going through what you might be going through if you stay long enough. And if you understand it's not a feeling, it is a commitment. And you bring yourself to work. And as Santo said, man, pray for your partner. But work on changing yourself.
Correct.
Quit looking for who to change, my friend. In fact, all along you've been looking out on who to change. How about you look in and begin to work on yourself and pray for your partner, man. I think these are priceless nuggets that we share from the Kyengos. And I want to just say to you, man, pick out everything and every lesson that you could pick from here because it goes a long way in its application to making you the greatness that you are. Because it matters the relationship you build, but it also matters how you handle those relationships. And God, as the third strand,
Correct.
gives you all the victory.
Amen.
Man, it's been an amazing one. And we want to say on this, man, that we want to wish every single one of you the very best. Nothing is beyond you, and especially when you team together and invite God into that whole mix, man. It's about all the time we had for today. What a show, what a conversation, what a couple, my friend. It's been lovely, it's been amazing. Want to remind you to keep following us on the Goldmine Show on Facebook, on Instagram, and go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. But most importantly, man, share this conversation out there. You never know who needs to hear this, and you might just be that link to saving a marriage, to saving a relationship, and to to helping elevate many other people out of different situations. God bless you, and we'll never tire to keep reminding you, you are a gold mine. Keep working the greatness inside of you. Don't quit on yourself. Keep giving yourself the chance. Keep working on you. Keep being the greatness that you truly are. Until next time, God bless you and see you, and keep working the greatness that you truly are.